everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Siobhán and in today's video I am going to discuss this new makeup trend called strobing, which isn't really a new trend at all, but it's just like contouring isn't new but really just took off in the last couple of years. The same thing with strobing. It's actually been around for a long time. I've come across it numerous times through various trends over my years as a makeup artist, but more behind the scenes, especially when I was training with MAC. And it's just the latest fad trend to really hit the kind of wider general public. So basically strobing is highlighting in the absence of contouring to create more depth and dimension to the face. So of course there is highlighting and contouring, we're kind of all used to that anyhow, but if you contour, of course you create shadows, and then whether you highlight or not, the parts that you don't contour will look a little bit more obvious, or they will stand out more in comparison or juxtaposed against the contour. The exact same thing with highlighting. So if you highlight certain areas and then mattify other areas, what will happen is the highlighted areas will of course come forward, because that's what happens when you introduce light to any place. You can see there it just immediately jumps out. And then whatever is against it that isn't highlighted or that is more matte will automatically look a little bit more pushed back. So therefore you are kind of contouring but without actually using any shadow or contouring powder. So that is basically it in a nutshell. A really good example of an artist who has some beautiful pictures with strobing effects on her Instagram is Alex Box, who is the creative director for LetzMakeup. So definitely check her out. And yeah, I think it's a beautiful effect. Of course, some people who are on the oiliest of oily sides might be a little bit hesitant to try it, but if you can get away with it, definitely try it. And I think it would be a breath of fresh air for some people who are just like obsessed with overly contouring. And you know, this is just a much softer way of bringing a bit of dimension to the face. And the trick with this trend is to keep it as natural as possible. So it's not really for like the drag kind of makeup look, it's more for a really natural look. But anyhow, if you are interested in this trend, I have a wee demonstration here for you, so just keep watching if you want to see how I do it. So keeping as close to the actual trend as possible, strobing is supposed to be done on very natural skin. So I used my Real Techniques Pro blending sponge to blend in a little bit of the MAC Mineralized Moisture. It's just a sample I have that is now sadly gone, so I'll either have to buy a new one or have to go in like a big scab and get another sample. So we'll see what happens. But what I'm going to use now for my highlight to achieve the strobing effect is the Pearl Cream Colour Base by MAC. You want something that is highly reflective, because this is all about quite obvious points of light on the face. So what you want to do is turn your head to whatever light source you have. For me it's natural light, so it's a little bit more diffused when it's natural light because you've light coming in from all over the place. But basically I can see that the light naturally hits me here at the top of my cheekbones, so that's where you want to start applying your highlight. Just do the same, flip your head around and see wherever the light is hitting. And you can use brushes or sponges or whatever you want to apply these products, but for creams I love to use my fingers. I think it works really well to kind of settle it into the skin. You can also apply a little bit to the tip of your nose. Again, this will depend on the nose shape, because it's up to you whether you want to accentuate your nose. I generally wouldn't, but just for the purpose of this video I will. Then your cupid's bow, your chin. Again, it depends on whether you want to accentuate your chin or not. So when it comes to strobing or highlighting, it's all down to what you want to accentuate. Obviously, like as far as the catwalks go and what you're seeing in fashion magazines, they're kind of accentuating the whole face, and I mean, these models have amazing features, so why not? So another place that I tend to like to highlight is here between my eyes and my nose bridge, to help bring it forward and balance it out a bit. You can also bring it up onto the forehead, under your brow bone, and the inner corner of your eye, either side of your nose bridge. And then of course you can do down the center of the nose, and this is obviously to make the nose look a bit slimmer. The trick though is to make sure that you don't have it spread too wide on the nose, because wherever you spread the highlight it will accentuate. So what you want to do is maybe get a small brush and use the side of the brush to draw as straight a line as you can down the center of the nose. And then you can bounce your finger over the top to help blend it in. And what you can also use this brush then for is to, those two little lines, I'm always forgetting what they're called, that run from your nostrils down to your cupid's bow, you can accentuate them as well. Basically any part of your face that sticks out you can accentuate. And then another place I like to do is just here on the centre of my eyes. And those would be all the places where I would apply my highlighter to create a strobing effect. So now we have applied all our highlight, and the trick then is to apply a translucent light enough powder in between the areas where you have highlighted. So this will help mattify the areas you don't want highlighted. So for instance, like around my nose can get a bit shiny, so I definitely want to mattify that. So I'm going to go in with my translucent powder by NARS and the Blank Canvas Cosmetics F15 brush and lightly mattify where you don't want shine. So particularly for me, it would be the sides of the nose. So this will really help that centre part stick out and bring all the attention to the centre of the nose, which is what's going to make it look more slim. Underneath the cheekbones. And it's not really to set, because I don't really need to set it there so much as I just want it to be matte under here compared to the highlight. I'm also just going to apply a little bit above my crease. I think there's actually a bit of contour powder on this from yesterday, so that's fine as well. And then by adding that little bit of mattifying powder, it just helps to accentuate the highlight that little bit more. And then the real trick with the strobing effect is to keep your makeup as natural as possible to let the highlights and, you know, that real gorgeous luminosity of your face stick out. So as usual, I hope this was helpful, guys. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to leave them below for me and I will get back to them as soon as possible. And in the meantime, feel free to subscribe and I will see you all in my next video. Slán, guys!